Welcome to Sound Values, powered in part by LSA Burger.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to DentonRadio.com tonight here on Sound Values, located in the beautiful Discover Denton Welcome Center on the ever-lovely Denton Square. I am here with a longtime friend of mine, Brian Burns, right here, the bearded wonder. Brian, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing good, man.
Awesome,
doing
man.
good.
Awesome, man. I'm excited to have you on. It's going to be a good time. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, from how you started playing music, when you were a teacher, going to Vegas, all kinds of stuff, restaurants, all kinds of stuff. Of course, we'll end the show with snacks. We always talk about snacks. But we're going to start it off with the very first question, man, because I just kind of want people to get a background for you. I kind of grew up hanging out with you, but
right.
Just let people know, where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
Oh, man. So Dallas kind of area is always where I'm from,
Mm-hmm.
I guess if I say one thing. But at 7, I started moving around all the way up until 5th grade.
Okay.
Down in Houston, Pittsburgh a little bit, but then settled in Grapevine.
Okay,
Went to South Lake schools all the way through high school. So that's kind of like my home area is like that Grapevine kind of Dallas-Fort Worth feel.
Yeah. You said Pittsburgh?
Yeah, for like 10 months.
Pennsylvania,
I was, I don't know, like 9 or 10, I think.
I had no idea.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. So you moved to Grapevine in South Lake area. You kind of settled down there, and that's where we both eventually ended up graduating from that. Thank goodness, you pulled it off, made it happen. So when you were moving around, were you playing music as a younger kid? Like, kind of what got you kind of started playing music? What's kind of like that first musical memory that you have, where you saw music and you thought, like, that's cool, I think I could do that?
Do you remember Last in Battle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last in Battle.
Yeah. So that was my first band I was in, and I was 14.
Okay.
And I was the lead singer and guitar player, and Justin Crenshaw was the guitar player.
Yeah.
Kyle Johnson.
I remember all these
if
kids.
He sees this, yeah. And then Kevin Sheehy was our drummer.
That's
and,
what's up.
It was cool. Yeah. No, it was one of those things where I started playing guitar, and I was doing it just alone and just playing whatever I could think of, and just random Blink-182 songs.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
I mean, and there was another band like the Chuffalos.
The Chuffalos.
Were you in the Chuffalos?
No, that was I think Doug Sutherland was in that one.
Yeah, Doug Sutherland. Wow, I haven't
Nick.
heard that.
Oh man, I'm forgetting Nick's last name, but he was in that one too.
That's pretty.
And then
cool.
there was Drop 40.
Yeah,
that was the other one.
That was
Jeff Knutson.
Jeff Knutson and Nick. I forget Nick's last name, man. Nick was cool though. I hung out with him a couple times down in Austin.
Yeah. That was the little. little high school, middle school band circle we had. Yeah.
What was cool about that time was that was when, like, the pop punk scene or that kind of music was really, really popular.
Oh, I was so into, like, Starting Line and Taking Back Sunday. And
just
I still like Taking Back Sunday a little bit.
To this day,
it's one of those, if it comes on, I won't change it.
Yeah, I mean,
but
Q without the E.
Yeah, but some of that other stuff though, I just like nah.
What was some of the stuff that you wouldn't want to listen
like
to? Like
Simple Plan kind of thing. Like when it gets to the Good Charlotte, a little bit stuff like that.
Yeah, a little too.
Where you heard it once and you were like, yeah, it's pretty cool, and then you keep hearing it, it's like, nah.
I'm sorry, I can't.
Yeah, you kind of fade out of that. But I mean, Brand New was always my favorite band. And they still are too. They're so good.
One thing, we'll touch on that real quick. Just let's kind of talk about Brand New just for a second, man, because one thing that I have found is that the kids who I talk to who are my age or maybe a couple years younger, Brand New grew with us. Right. Is how I felt.
Oh, and that's exactly my mindset too, because that first album came out and it was real pop punk, and it was real kind of juvenile sounding. And then the next one came out and they got a little more mature. They got kind of a little darker in a way. And then it kind of, as they got matured, it did seem like it mirrored like that our age group's maturity level.
Yeah.
So I think that's what really connected me to them.
Because My Favorite Weapon was the first one.
Yeah, your favorite weapon, I think.
Yeah, your favorite.
There was
weapon.
A couple like demos and stuff, but that was like the first big one. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you had Deja Entendu, which was next, and that was I remember because it was like going from Favorite Weapon to Deja Entendu was very different. It took me a couple listens to really like it and be like, oh, okay, this is a new sound that they're going for.
Yeah, and he carried over those same vocal harmonies because he harmonized with himself throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
And he carried over those same style harmonies that he did in that album, but he put a lot more of like, lower tuning and kind of a little heavier, more kind of dramatic tone. Than the other ones.
So if you had to like kind of choose, we're talking about like the first band, Last in Battle, which just reminded me right away of what was the band that was like I think they were like juniors and seniors.
Madison?
No, it was the guy's name was Jake, who was in it, and they always won the.
Oh,
I cannot cannot remember.
He was such a good guitarist.
Yeah, both
man.
of those guys were. I'm having trouble remembering that name
Because
right
Jake
now.
actually played in Madison for, I think, and I may be completely wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure at a house party I saw him sit in and play with him one time or a couple
Yeah,
times.
because they were good. I'm going to remember it through the
It'll
interview.
pop back up into my head.
because I remember watching them, and they always won the Battle of the Bands.
Of course, yeah.
And him being
He was like Ed Sheeran before.
Yeah,
Ed Sheeran.
yeah. Those guys could wail, man. They were good. So if you had to kind of choose some people who like influenced you growing up, I mean, we talked about Brand New a little bit, but as far as people who influenced you musically and playing the guitar, guitarists, bands, anybody, who did you kind of look up to when you were playing?
Well, my first obsession was Garth Brooks when I was like, and I mean, I was like obsessed. I saved up all my allowance and bought as many cassette tapes of Garth Brooks as I could.
Did you have the America one with like the American flag on his face?
I think we had two of them, and then one of them was the one that had the Thunder Rolls and
When the lightning strikes.
Yeah.
Oh
it's
man,
so good,
that's
dude.
yeah.
All the time.
I think even to this day, it's just like Brand New. If Garth Brooks comes on, I'm not changing it.
One of my saddest days, I'd gone to bed listening to it in my tape player, and it kept playing, and it ripped the tape off, and it was just destroyed in the morning. And it was like.
And so, how old were you?
Oh, probably like 7
7
6
years.
or 7.
Oh man,
yeah,
that's when I was
kid.
listening to it too,
Yeah.
man. So besides like Garth Brooks, who else?
Well, that's whenever 6 or 7. I was like 93, 94.
Mm-hmm.
So grunge music was out.
Okay,
and
for
Nirvana
sure.
was real prominent in my house because my older brother listened to it a lot in Soundgarden. So that's when I started listening to more of like when 94.5 The Edge was still around.
Okay,
before
yeah.
It doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah, it's
actually.
the boom.
Yeah,
It's hip hop music now.
Is it? I thought it was like soft rock, 102.1 or something.
102.1 died as well.
Yeah.
The Edge is no longer around.
Yeah, so I got into that, and then I got into the Beatles too. I got that one album that had all the #1 hits on it.
Okay, nice.
And I played that so much.
Yeah.
So that's whenever I really started getting into like wanting to create music, because I found a guitar in my dad's closet, like a little junior one. I think it was my aunt's. I started playing that, and I was just kind of messing around. And when I started really getting into music and found I was listening to music a lot and wanted to create it, I asked for an actual like worthwhile guitar. So I got a Squire, if that's
nice. Yeah. Hey, I mean, it
was
works,
a step
right?
up from what I had.
Yeah, it's a step up.
But I got a little amp combo and everything. So I learned so much on that
the
thing.
$89.99.
Yeah, $100 special.
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
great.
it's perfect.
Yeah.
So you played in Last in Battle when you got older, 14 years old. So that's like 8th, 9th grade.
Yeah.
What did you guys actually play any venues?
Yeah, we played the Door Dallas and Door Fort Worth all the time. Yeah, because you could just call them and be like, "Hey, we want to play," and they're like, "Okay," and then they'll put you on they don't care, because if you brought people, they would pay you if you brought over a certain number, so they didn't have much to lose per se.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'd play out there all the time, and we'd play like at like house shows and like little clubhouses and just here and there.
That's pretty cool,
Yeah.
man. So
it was
yeah,
fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, if you're 14 years old out there, just send an email. Call
and then
see what they'll
Nick
say.
Caldwell sat in on an album for us, and he was a really awesome singer, and he kind of helped us get a really good sound to it. Because when I started singing, I was terrible. It was terrible. I don't know where those recordings are. From when I was
Let's
like
hope
14.
they stay far, far away.
Yeah,
I
we
guess.
paid some guy like $100, and we were like at his house, little studio, and we put out this little 5-song album, and I was showing it to people, and the more I showed it to people and saw their face, the more I was like, this is bad. They're like, oh, this is you?
Yeah.
Oh.
We try. Yeah, we try. Like
I tried. Yeah, but the only reason I was singer is because nobody else wanted to do it.
Yeah, you were the only. Yeah, it's like.
I was like, fine, I'll be the singer.
Yeah, I'll do this. Yeah, you were the one who had the gusto to get up
yeah,
there.
because
and
I
the
just wanted to be a
persona.
guitar player. That's all I wanted to be.
For
so
sure.
Singing just kind of came as that necessity.
Did you take any lessons, or did you just kind of teach yourself?
I took like one lesson.
Just one lesson, and then took it from there.
I just sang in the car.
That's
a
what's
lot.
up, man.
That was the biggest thing.
Not just singing lessons, but like guitar lessons. Did you take guitar lessons for years, or just kind of?
No, that was all just like but it was before YouTube and stuff when I started, so it was all books and what your friends knew and everything.
So do you read
and
music?
I guess there
or
wasn't.
tabs
I guess there
or
was tabs and stuff online, but it wasn't as vast as it is now.
Ultimate Guitar Tabs.
Yeah, there was no app that had instant tabs, so you actually had to go looking for them and stuff. But
you never really knew if they were right either.
no, half of them were terribly wrong. Yeah. So it was, and then a lot of times I had to figure out how to even read tabs in the first place. So yeah, it was all mostly self-taught, and I took a couple lessons, but I don't know. I'm not that disciplined
Okay.
to go to something every week and do practice, and I kind of take things at my own speed,
Yeah.
my own time thing.
Is there anybody else in your family who does music? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, my dad plays guitar and
Okay.
has written songs before, but you know, he wouldn't say he's like a big musician
Yeah.
or anything like that. But he dabbles, you know, he plays
Okay.
drums and stuff, so
Exactly.
he's got it in him.
he can hold his own.
Yeah, you know, he has the passion for music as much as any musician would.
That's
you
cool,
know.
man. Very cool. So what kind of music were your parents listening to when you were growing up? What
Like
kind of music?
Journey,
Okay.
Tom Petty, man, what else? Collective Soul,
All
Live,
right.
you know, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of got that alternative rock and roll kind of vibe from
Yeah.
my parents, and my dad listened to classic rock and showed me AC/DC and just kind of stuff like that. But
That's what's up, man.
I was
That's
kind
cool.
of I really just kind of ventured on my own,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, they weren't really forcing any band. They're never like, you have to listen to, you know.
Yeah.
My dad might say that about like Leonard Skinner or something, but
Yeah,
you
you
know.
will listen to
yeah,
Lynyrd Skynyrd.
yeah.
You
But-
will listen to Freebird.
But other than that, no, I didn't have any like, you need to be a fan of this band. So
Okay.
I was really left on my own, which was really nice.
Yeah,
you
and,
know.
and kind of when you were saying like you kind of went out on your own because you do your own you do your own thing now. You know, Brian Burns is just what you do. You know,
Right, yeah.
And so when did you kind of start doing that? Because you know I moved away for a while, and like I knew you and Jared, and then kind of like we would see each other when you and Jared lived together over in
Right.
Grapevine and stuff. But when did you kind of start the process of creating, you know, the Brian Burns project, if you will?
Man, I wrote my first song when I was like 15.
Okay.
And I still play that song today, kind of thing.
Nice.
So this is a project that's been, you know, from the beginning. And I've always written solo stuff, and I've always written kind of like almost half country, half folk kind of blues stuff. But I wouldn't say I've really spent too much time. There was one point in time when I was traveling and doing street performing that I really tried to brand myself as a musician, and this is what I do. But since then, you know, I'm on to kind of other things in my life and career that I kind of put that project back on the back burner as far as creating songs and creating an image and brand and stuff. So, but I'd still, all that stuff is still there. So it's just kind of floating until like find an outlet for it and time to really to put it all together.
For sure.
Because I'd love to sit in a studio one day and like take like, or not one day, it'd be like, you know, a few weeks and just write everything and put everything out that I have in there written down and pre-recorded, just to kind of get a checkpoint of everything I've done up to then. Because I haven't really done that, you know.
Yeah, because when I moved back, and then once I started hanging out with you and Jared and stuff more, and like, you know, we've just hung out and, you know, had beers and written silly songs and stuff
Right.
like that, you know.
Hey, that song gets in my head.
The Mariachi on the Marriott. Is it
Oh, that one too.
Oh, the
No,
other
the other
one.
one.
Yeah, the other one is awesome too. Yeah, that one is respect to that. Yeah. So you know, that's what was fun, man, and that's what I like is like just like you said, you kind of take it at your own pace, but in a way, you've been successful at it. You know, like you've done it. And just the other day, I was like, "Hey, can you play this show?" You're like, actually, I'm playing this gig down there. It pays well." So you go out and you traveled around. And so that was pretty cool, man. And you just drove around in this truck, from what I know, lived out of the truck, had your dog with you, and
I actually left my dog with Jared on the big long trip.
Okay.
I took him back out to Vegas the second time, but I didn't want to really put him through much stress living in a car for
Hank.
2 weeks. So, or I was actually a month when it was all said and done. But
that's crazy.
So luckily Jared was nice enough to.
Yeah, shout out to the Juice for that.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was miserable
Oh,
for
he
him.
chewed up probably a few things that he.
So how did you kind of decide, I'm going to hit the road? Like, I'm going to go out, I'm going to travel around, and I'm going to play music.
Man, if you actually listen to that first song I wrote, that's what it was about.
Okay.
I mean, it was about.
When you were 15?
Mm-hmm, it was about,
Wow.
you know, going out and like one of the lines is going somewhere where they don't know my name kind of thing. And really kind of finding who I am by being in a place where I have to, you know, it's out of my comfort zone kind of thing. So that's when the road trip kind of came in mind. I was in college, and I couldn't do it when I was in college because I wanted to have no, like, oh, got an exam when I come back, or oh, I got to sign up for these classes. And so as soon as I graduated, did it in 2 months after that. I, you know, got my plans all set up and then left. But I mean, it was just kind of a lifelong thing that I knew I wanted to do. So as soon as I could, I did it.
Yeah, how'd you go about getting prepared for that? Like, what
Oh,
what
man.
kind of stuff did you buy? What'd you take with
Mostly
you?
is what did we sell, you know? So I sold most of the things I could just to, you know, get a little pocket change. And I had a little bit, but I didn't have enough. It was not enough. And so it built a little bed thing in the back, which is cool. I had a little camper shell over the top of my truck, and then I built a little platform and I put a queen size mattress on there.
Nice.
So I had like a queen size mattress.
Yeah.
It wasn't like uncomfortable whatsoever. But it was in October, so it was perfect time to do it. Everything was in fall, except for Wyoming. There was a blizzard. That was crazy.
Yeah. So for all those people who are like, I want to do this one day, like the Instagram picture of the bed in the back of the truck, Brian Burns actually did that. So
yeah, I mean, it was stressful for sure, but I think the happiness I got out of it was worth
for
all
sure.
of the,
Where all did you go during this time? Like,
so started in Austin, went to Dallas to kind of wrap up things before I left, and then went over to Angel Fire, New Mexico.
Okay.
Had some friends out there and stayed with them for a little bit, and then went up to Colorado. I got a there wasn't much street performing at this time because it's like ski resort towns. And Colorado, was some stuff in Denver, but I was really waiting until I got to the coast for most of that stuff. So I got a little gig, or not a gig, but a little job digging a irrigation ditch around this house in Colorado on Craigslist. It was hard work, but they gave me like $300 for 3 days work.
Yeah,
which was really nice. And then took that up through Wyoming and then up to Montana, which is incredible. I don't know if you've been to Montana or not, but
yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, because
huge.
The skyline starts so low on your line of sight that it's huge.
Yeah,
the sky
big
is
sky,
just
dude.
insane.
Yeah,
and it was one of those things you hear about it, and then I was mind blown. I was like, oh, it's exactly that. I mean, it's exactly that.
There's a reason it's big sky.
The expectation reality was spot on with that. So I had a kind of a little love for Montana.
Did you ever pick up any hitchhikers along the way?
No.
Yeah. No. When I was living in Wyoming, we picked up a hitchhiker and drove him up. He was a cool dude. Luckily. And we drove him up to Montana because he was like, hey, I need to go to Montana. And we were like, well, we are looking to go to Yellowstone, so we'll just go up to Yellowstone and then drive into Montana as well and hang out there. So then where did you go from Montana? Headed out to the coast?
Yeah, so then we went over through the Coeur d'Alene part of Idaho, which is like a big lake in northern Idaho on the little skinny panhandle part of it. And then through Spokane, and then all the way to Seattle. Okay. So we went up to the top corner.
Nice.
And then made way down to Portland and made sure I played the Portlandia theme song. I was driving in.
Excellent.
I had
That's
to,
awesome.
No shame.
Yeah, none.
But it was awesome. It was driving through the city and it was like, hey, that thing was in the title. And it was a song played. It was really stupid.
Yeah.
But it was fun. And then went to where from there? See, I can't remember.
Did you get down to California?
We went down the coast in Oregon and picked food, like mussels off the rocks and made some fresh mussels.
Wow, that's cool.
Got a bucket of salt water and took them to this house that we were staying, and then made some mussels and some salmon that these people bought from the Native Americans down by the river, because they're the only ones that are allowed to sell wild caught. So if you go down there and you know who to get it from, they caught it that morning. So we had big fresh salmon and then fresh steamed mussels and. That's probably like top 5 best meals I've ever had in my entire life.
That's awesome.
It was crazy. They did the salmon 2 ways. Did like a one with like capers and panko on one, and then just a regular lemon garlic on the other, like a natural one. Yes. So it was
getting hungry just thinking about it now.
That was hands down one of the best ever. And then went down to San Francisco, which is my personal favorite city. I've never really been to the East Coast, but as far as West, San Francisco is badass. I mean, it's awesome.
Okay.
No, San Francisco is awesome. There's a community feel to it. Like everyone that I met was super, super awesome. There's a little level of like sketchiness to it, but it's just enough to like keep you on your toes.
Yeah.
And it's not a boring, dull city, but it's not a scary,
Yeah,
city.
exactly. It's really clean too. Like
surprisingly.
There's like I'm not trying to bash on New York. I've never been there, but my buddy, when we were there, he's like, man, New York, there's a lot of trash on the streets and stuff just because it's very close together. But in San Fran, it was just, it was very, very clean. The food was really good when I was there too.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had the money for the food. I did go to the pier and get the bread bowl where they get all the bread out. And they put the clam chowder in it.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was pretty solid.
I know, all the way out.
That was like the life savings that I had from playing that day.
And so when did you start? Did you busk in like Washington or Oregon, or did that?
Yeah, so that started in Spokane. I did it some there. That's when I kind of needed to, because that's when the money was really starting to run out from what we had saved up.
Yep.
So started there. In Seattle, it was kind of tough. I got enough in Spokane to get Seattle and kind of be comfortable. And then in Seattle was kind of tough because there was a lot of people busking. It was kind of saturated with. There's a lot of homeless people out there too that I noticed. So it wasn't the same vibe that I got when I would perform other places. But I did it down by the Pikes
Pier. Yeah, Pikes Pier. Yeah.
So I did it down there, and that was cool. They have little music notes drawn on the sidewalks where you're allowed to do it.
Oh, cool.
So it was pretty cool.
So
I mean,
they kind of provide a space
so I didn't
for
feel
it.
like I was intruding, but it's like it seems like it happens all the time, and this is where it always happens, that it's not as cool.
Yeah.
So I didn't make as much there, but San Francisco I made a bunch, and I had some little albums I was selling, and I had one guy buy like 6 of them at once. And he gave me like $50 and was just like, here, and bought 6 of them, and they weren't even worth that. I was charging $5. And he was just really liked it. And so that was the first time I was like, that was really, really cool. And I made a lot of money out there that day.
That's
so
awesome.
That was really, really nice.
And so one thing that I noticed about your performance, and one thing that impressed me when I first moved back and started getting to know you, was you were using a loop pedal.
Yeah.
And you were doing your own drummings, and you are surprisingly good at beatboxing.
Yeah,
like
I hope so.
No, you're surprised. Like, like it's not some. It's
it's
you never
lips.
It's you never know if somebody's really gonna be good at beatboxing or this or that. But like it sounds good when you do it, and so. Like, did you have your loop pedal with you the first time when you were traveling, or was this just guitar at first?
No, on that one was just guitar.
Okay.
Because I didn't have the amp and I didn't have the battery powered stuff and the portable stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I saved up to get for that trip back out to Vegas. Because once I finally did make it down the coast, I kind of made it on to outside LA and then went straight to Vegas because it was like, I need to get to Vegas because I know street performing is going to be like awesome out there.
Yeah.
And it was. I mean, it was. On Fremont Street, it was one of the. I mean, I love Vegas. It's one of my favorite. Like, it's San Francisco and Las Vegas. I love it. I probably could live there, but I shouldn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I've only been to Vegas once. What's Vegas? What was the appeal? What'd you like so much about it?
Man, everything's open all times.
Okay.
Every day, everyone's there to have a good time. Well, most people. The people watching is outrageous. It's incredible the things you see out there. Like. Unbelievable. There was this guy, he was walking a shopping cart down the road, and his pants were just at his ankles. Nothing there.
Oh,
and
my
just walking
goodness.
down the street, and this cop comes and just flips around and pulls him over, and he just kind of like pulls him over. And it was just like, this was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon on like a Tuesday. And that was like normal. It was like, yeah, another naked guy. But it was some sort of appeal to that, that it's kind of sad to see the degradation of all these people, but
there's just something crazy. Like when I was
but they're going to be there anyways,
Yeah.
So you're just there to observe. I'm not adding to the problem.
Yeah.
I'm just watching it. But
when I was there, I watched this guy. I was in a Greyhound station, and I just watched this guy try to shove a duffel bag that was way too big into this locker. I was like, I wonder what this guy's doing. What is in that duffel bag that he so badly wants to get put in there?
Yeah.
What was it like? Like, I've never done busking, and I mean, people do it here. We see people doing it, but kind of is there a bit of insecurity when you're first doing it? Do you become comfortable with it? Is there what's kind of the art form to it?
Right. I think the first time I really did it on the street was in Colorado Springs, and I tried it out there, and I kind of was a little apprehensive at first because I had sung a lot, but I didn't really have the confidence, and I hadn't had that many people kind of reassure me that I was doing all right at it.
Yeah.
So it was kind of weird because whenever you're out there, it's the street sound, and it's like there's no reverberation off walls. So whenever you're loud, it doesn't really come back at you like it would in a room. So that was kind of weird at first. And then you just know everyone around you can hear you.
Yeah.
Regardless if they want to hear you or not. So you're up for judgment to the highest degree.
Yeah,
but
for
I
sure.
think after I did it in Washington and kind of had not a bad experience, but I didn't get the funness out of it. I kind of felt like I was just being annoying and nobody wanted to tip me anything. And so it was until I got to San Francisco whenever I got a really positive interaction from people that I really started opening up and singing. And I think the street performing really helped me work on projection and then also that stage kind of fright, because there's nothing more vulnerable than just standing on a street corner just singing your butt off.
Yeah, and that's what I find. I mean, you'll have guys who are playing the violin out here. Like I was saying, there's a guy playing the drums. Steinberg's over there was jamming just now.
What's up, Jake?
It is very exposing. It's like you're just deciding, hey, I'm just gonna go and kind of invade the space of people as they're walking through and hope they like it.
Yeah, and I was hoping that I was enhancing their experience. And that's why it was so much better in Vegas because people want that. It's not like they're just shopping in a downtown Colorado Springs shopping plaza and there's just some guy singing and playing guitar that's not usually there. In Vegas, people were looking for it. There's people that dress as famous people, and they'll impersonate, and they'll take pictures, and they'll be like superheroes and all the naughty cops and all that stuff.
Yeah,
the whole thing, and then people contortionists.
Cowboys.
And, you know, there's a bunch of really interesting street performers, a lot of dancers. There was this one group. It was like 3 children that were out there with their mom, and it was like 11, 12, you know, at night, and they're just these little dressed like Michael Jackson, 3 little miniature Michael Jacksons, and she had them out there like 4 nights a week, just dancing them. And they, I mean, it wasn't like the kids were like, you could see unhappiness in their face. They were dancing. They were loving it, killing it. Like, the crowd was. I mean, they had a big circle every time, but there was all kinds of variety out there. But that's why it was nice though, because I wasn't really invading. I was kind of just adding to it, and it was really cool when I would get that big circle.
Yeah,
you know, that's really nice, and the people would dance, and it would almost be like I'd have my own little club.
Yeah, you got your own show
in the middle of the street.
So did you ever get any shows? Like, did you ever have people approach you?
So some things happened that made me have to go back to Texas, and if I would have stayed, I probably would have been a career musician, or I would have tried. That would have been my goal.
Yeah,
because someone had noticed me on the street on Fremont, and they asked me to come play like an audition show during the day, like a Sunday day bar kind of thing.
Yeah. And
I played, and they loved it, and they're like, we want to book you, you know, every month, kind of like a regular thing. And that was when I found out I had to go back to Texas to take care of some stuff, and it was like, man. Like,
yeah, that would have been.
And I was there for probably 2 or 3 months.
Wow.
So it was pretty quick that I was seeing like a traction gained with music.
Well, I'm sure in Vegas they get a lot there, and so not only somebody who's good, but somebody who's like mentally stable as well. They're like, oh yeah,
reliable.
Yeah,
too, you know?
exactly. That's more what I meant. Is like you're reliable. You know, you hold a conversation and you really wanted to do it.
There's so much live music out there. I mean, there's live music almost every day, and so the availability to make a living out there as a musician is super high. But you're living in Las Vegas. It's the desert. It's super hot. It's you know, just trashy at some points. And it's kind of scary and sketchy. So there's give and takes with it, but I kind of have like a weird love for it. You know.
Well, I can see how, you know, especially when you're traveling around, or you're going to different places, and then you find a city that is, I mean, I could only, like, I'm sure that I would love there if I actually went and like had some money to hang out and like experience Vegas. Right. You know, because it's just, there's so much stimulus, it seems, going on.
It's insane. The lights and the sounds and
all this?
The smells. It's one of those things. Yeah, it's hard to recreate.
And so you went back out there. And so when you were first out there, you didn't have your loop pedal or anything, right?
Right.
So I know that you built something that enabled you to be able to play with your with your loop and stuff. What did you build?
Basically it was just a solar panel to a little box that controlled how much the charge went to a little battery.
Okay.
And the battery went to a little box that I could plug a outlet into.
Nice.
So it was just a battery-powered power center that I'd made just buying stuff off Amazon. And
how much did that cost you to make?
Probably like $100 maybe total. So I mean, it wasn't. No, it was probably like $200 total. But I think it paid for itself.
Yeah.
And pretty quickly, but. I used it all the time, and but I mean, I played at night a lot of times, so the solar panel didn't do much. Obviously, all the lights weren't really helping.
Yeah, the lights didn't help out too much.
It didn't charge it for anything. No. But so I took that out there. I built that, and I got a little PA speaker, and all I had at the time was just the microphone and the loop pedal and my guitar. Now I use a keyboard also.
Oh, okay.
Because I learned. Not really learned, but I'm faking it till I'm making it
piano.
And it's so far people are believing that I can play piano. So
that's what's up. Well, then you're playing it well enough.
Yeah,
you know,
well
people
enough.
are believing it, and it's well enough.
Well, luckily I use a lot of loops, so if I get it right once, I got to write the whole song. You know? It's really nice.
So when you are writing music, like when you're using a loop pedal and all that, just like you said, you're like, I get it right. Is there kind of a pressure to come up with a kind of more catchy stuff because you know that it's going to be looping for a while?
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what's brought me to listen to a lot more like hip hop and electronic music now in the last probably year or two, because I was finding I was getting that rut of like I was listening to too much Lumineers, you know what I mean? It was it was like and stuff like that, you know. I needed to kind of get a little more upbeat and a little more not just kind of middle school whiny kind of songs kind of thing.
Yeah, I hear you.
But so yeah, with the loop, it has a lot more of that hip hop vibe because I do my beatbox, and beatboxing is kind of hard not to make it sound like a hip hop kind of beat. Yeah. But I like that though.
Yeah, for sure.
I like the energy that brings into it.
And you get to blend those styles. You get to blend like the kind of folk and country style that you're going to do with, you know, that more upbeat tempo. And once again, you have people are going to dance to that a little bit more, and you expand your audience too that you can connect with.
Yeah, and especially if I can take a song that's like well known, in like kind of the older circles that like because I play a lot of 4-hour gigs, so I'm playing so many covers and stuff in a set, and a lot of the places I play is kind of older crowd, 40, 50, 60 kind of. So I kind of have to learn the 70s and 80s songs. But if I put them over like a loop and I'll lay like kind of a nice bass line down and then I do it over it, it kind of does include more of like people that aren't really in love with those songs. But they still can move to it.
Yeah, it kind of and I'm sure that people do you ever have the older people come up and ask you how do you do that? Like what are you doing? What's going on
I mean,
here?
honestly, the only people that really do that are the musicians.
Okay.
The people that don't really dabble in music at all. They kind of just appreciate it for what it is, and nobody has really inquired about it except for the ones who are musicians, and they want to know everything about it. They're like, oh, what model is this, and blah, 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 all this stuff. And I love talking about it because it's cool. But
so how does it work, because I've seen you use it, but it seems like you make it look easy, which means at first it had to be hard.
Yeah, and I started with just the one with one pedal.
Okay.
I had two pedals, a play, record, and then a stop. So I only had one layer that I was looping. So that really helped me with my time. And once I kind of got you kind of have to dance with it a little bit. So when you're downbeat, it's right on time. And that was the hardest thing, was getting that downbeat right, because it never worked out in the beginning. It was always like a little bit off, or it was muted in the beginning, and it really just took so much time and over and over and over again to get that natural beat down. And I still sometimes get it wrong whenever because I have 3 layers are on this thing, and basically it's like if I were to get by 3 of those pedals and put them next to each other and put them all in time with each other.
Okay.
So so I'll take like the first one and I'll hit the record and I'll start my beat and I'll do a beatbox. And once I get however many measures, I'll stop it. And then what I can do next is if I load up the next layer, I can stop them both at the same time and then start it and record. So it's like the timing's in the very beginning.
Okay.
So even if I stop one and then restart it, it'll be guaranteed in the same time.
So it kind of quantizes it for you almost?
Right.
That's cool.
So that'll do, because you're starting the start point at exactly the same start point as the other one. But a lot of songs, I don't have the luxury of stopping the whole song and resetting it and recording it. So I really have to hit that downbeat, because if I try to pull it out of the song and then drop it back in, even if it's off a little bit, and sometimes the crowd might not notice it, but I'll notice it.
You do for sure.
And I'm like, and I'll be singing the rest of the verse, and it's like the little beat or tick might be off, and it'll just get me.
Yeah.
But
and so, but then like the art of beatboxing as well. You've got to get those sounds right. So like how long and what was the time, and like how did you kind of be like?
I don't even realize.
Sounds good,
I don't even know when I started doing that. I think Dub FX. You ever heard of Dub FX?
Yeah.
So
From
he was
Australia,
the first one. Yeah, and he was the first one that I saw doing like the beatbox loop.
Yeah.
And he runs his through a vocal processor that adds like a nice bass level to it, and it doesn't really sound as human as mine does, because mine's just clean beatbox onto a track. But he was the first one I saw doing that, and I was like, I need to try that, because that's really cool that I can just make a drum beat however I want it, whenever I want it, without having to pre-record or do any sampling and stuff. So I just started it from there. But I mean, I kind of always just farted around doing beatboxing. It's just, you just do it.
Yeah. But even like right there, there's a nice bass tone going on, and then has a good pop to it. So it's like that. It sounds simple, but I can't. Yeah. See, like. Yeah, so like I can't do that. Like I can rap to it, but
you see, I have to move my whole body when
I
do it.
Yeah. But it helps you to stay. It helps you to stay in that rhythm. And so now you have a bigger loop pedal. And so can you do multiple like guitar parts on it now?
Yeah, I mean, because each layer I can overdub on, so it's almost infinite.
Okay.
Stuff. So like on one song I'll do the beat, and then I'll lay my bass line down, and on the third layer I'll lay my guitar down, and then I'll come back over on the guitar and lay like a vocal down, so that when I come back I can harmonize it. So I'll have like 4 or 5 layers going at the same time that are situated on different layers. It's kind of hard to explain to someone who doesn't do it every day. But it's really just get your timings right and don't mess up.
That is the key. Don't mess up.
That was why I was really apprehensive about using the keyboard at first, because I mean I was like, all right, an A major. And by that time, it's screwed. So I had to learn quick if I wanted to bring that into it. So I really just sat there and just just did all that.
That's awesome, man. Very good. Yeah, I didn't know that you were playing the keyboard with it. So you're looping keys and guitar, and so yeah, man, that's awesome. Yeah, I would love to see you playing some gigs up in Denton too, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I need to get some more. I've got one more, but it's a private party on Saturday. But I played a lot over the summer out at the lake and a couple places in Keller. But yeah, as after the Saturday one, I don't really have anything else. But they kind of just pop up.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, I can do some booking for you at a couple spots.
If anybody else out there wants to book.
Yeah, exactly. And so you actually, you moved back. You're living around here, but you actually went to school in Denton. You went to UNT.
Yeah, I'm UNT alumni.
That's and what did you get? What did you get your degree in?
Biology.
Biology.
With a minor in chemistry.
There you go. And so, what did you do with that?
Well, so it was one of those things when I was getting it, I didn't really know what I was going to do with it, but I knew I could do something with it. So I didn't have a plan. That was as much of a plan as I had.
Yeah.
But, I mean, when I took classes, that was the classes that really intrigued me, and I thought, like, this is what knowing about how bodies work and how nature works and how, space and physics, and I thought that was the most important knowledge that I could gain in a higher learning center.
Yeah.
More than business, more than anything else, because that stuff, I think, if you have it, you have it. Sales and business, and obviously there's a lot you got to learn about the details and stuff. But
the numbers,
I think just the natural business person, I think kind of has it.
Somebody
and,
has
and also
talent.
experience. They're not going to hire you just because you have a degree. You got to have experience anyway. So a lot of places you can just do the experience and get it. So I thought science was something that I couldn't just go get experience in science somewhere.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I got it, and then I found that I really liked talking about science and stuff, and someone would bring it up, and I would talk way too much about a topic, and even if they didn't care, I got more enjoyment out about talking about it. And so I was like, let me try out teaching.
Yeah.
So I got a high school like level. It was 7th grade up certificate.
Okay.
Like probationary year where I can get hired as a teacher, and once I'm done, I'm full certificate thing.
Okay.
And I hadn't gotten hired. I hadn't looked very hard because I was still on the fence about it, but I put stuff out there. And this middle school called me, and they were like, hey, we're already a week through our training and orientation. And it was like Tuesday when they called me, or Monday, and they needed me to come in on Tuesday. And like, school starts next Monday, and we don't have a science teacher. Will you come in and interview? And it was like, it was 7th grade, and it was, it was a low-income school, so I knew it was going to be like really hard because that is the hardest place to start.
Yeah.
Because, you got to get over so many hurdles before you can even start teaching a lesson.
Yes, exactly.
So that was something I knew would be a challenge, but I'm always up for a challenge. So I went into the interview, and as I was walking out of the interview, the principal came running out the side door and was like, hey, we got some more interviews, but I'm just going to finish them, but you got the job if you want it. So it was like, oh, okay. So I took it, and about 3 months in, I knew it wasn't what I wanted to do. Because, I had a great time with, like, the science club I did. I did, like, a science Olympiad. So we actually took our kids to a science competition because they made it to, like, the state competition. And,
nice.
There are a lot of low-income kids, and we went to this competition with, a bunch of, wealthy kids that had these really nice science equipment, and you can tell they're all real smart and come from like, really dedicated families and stuff. And, I don't even think any of the parents came. I think one mom came out of, like, the 12 kids we took. And all the other ones, they have a lot of support. So they were kind of underdogs, but they got gold in 2 of the categories and took a couple of medals, and it was like, that was awesome.
That's dude.
So there was positive experiences out of it, but for the most part, it was just pure frustration all day, every day. And it was something I know if I would have stayed, I would have gotten way better at it, and it would have been something I might have stuck with. But it was like 5 years of learning how to do it and being unhappy, or just like trying something else.
Yeah.
So that's when I went back into the restaurant.
I completely understand the frustrations as far as like when you say like you have to go through all these hurdles just to get a lesson started. It's you walk in and some kid's unplugged like your internet because he's trying to be funny. Like that happened to me. And then then a fight breaks out, and then this girl's mad at this girl on the other side, and they're talking. It's like you have to basically herd cats and then teach the cat.
And like the second week I was there, a kid got like stabbed in the face with a pencil, and he had like stitches. He was like,
oh my god!
It was crazy. 7th graders, and it was like, this is crazy.
I just want to teach. I want to teach how clouds move, man.
Yeah, right.
Precipitation.
And I was teaching biology, so that includes all the body systems, which includes the reproductive system too. So my first year, I'm teaching 12 and 13-year-old kids about the human body, and it's like, I don't know what I'm doing, but it was fine.
Well, it's good that you went in, you had that experience, and those kids will, the kids who got gold and stuff, they remember that.
Oh yeah,
so you had that impact.
Yeah, and I have a teacher friend that still works there, and yeah, they definitely still are like.
That's
bring me
awesome,
up
man.
And stuff like that. So it's cool.
That's really cool. And so you did that, and you traveled around. You played in Vegas. You went you went Austin, Dallas, Angel Fire, Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, Washington, Oregon, California, Las Vegas.
Yeah, and then as fast as I could through Arizona. I can't. I mean, no. I mean, if you're like Arizona, more power to you. But there's something about that desert.
Have you ever seen The King of the Hill, where they go to Arizona and Bobby is like, he goes, "It's so hot here. This is a testament to man's arrogance."
Yes, absolutely. Why do people live there? I don't know.
Yeah,
It's exactly that.
That made me laugh so hard. He's like, "This is a testament to man's arrogance."
Yeah, that's a very good way to put it.
Yeah, it was perfect.
Yeah.
So then you had a restaurant in Angel Fire, and then you moved back home, and you started opening a restaurant down here. So when I found this out, that you were opening a restaurant and that I didn't even know you cooked. Like
Yeah.
I was like, what? I was like, oh yeah, I'm sure that'll work out, and I'd be a liar to say that I didn't have a few doubts.
Absolutely.
Like I wanted it to work out, but I did not know.
You're like, what does he think he's doing? Kind of thing.
It was more like I had no idea that Brian wanted to do something like this. So like I kind of want to go into that. Like, when did you start cooking? And what is the enjoyment of cook? What is it that you like about providing meals in that environment?
Man, happiness. That's like the whole thing. It makes me happy, and I make other people happy if I make good food.
For sure.
So if I can make a living doing it, that was when I was like, that was when I was teaching. It was like, if I'm not going to teach, I need to decide, because this is like a career I'm giving away.
Yeah.
This is something I can retire on. And so it was like, I really need to pick now what I want to do. And food service is what I did the entire time I was in college, which is kind of ironic, because the whole time I'm getting this science degree, I'm learning the art that I actually wanted to do, which was food service and hospitality and stuff like that. So, that's kind of how it sprouted.
And so did you cook when you were younger? Or?
Yeah, I did. I mean, it's more like helping at first,
Yeah.
It was like, you start this, you do this, and that kind of thing. But, my mom cooks a lot. It was always family meals. We always ate at the table. So I kind of have that bond with food that it reminds me of things. It's sentimental in a way. And then as I got older, I don't like meditate, and I don't do yoga, but I eat meals by myself. And that's what I do. I like to go out somewhere, get a nice meal, and not even expensive one, just even like cheap, good food.
Yeah.
And just like sit and enjoy it. And so if I can get that happiness out of it, some people might also get it. And if I can make food that's awesome, and they're like, this is great, then I get that also. And then they buy it from me. So it's like, I just, in my mind, it was the only thing that I think that I wanted to do.
So there's one thing, because it's one thing that I've realized too, is when I bring people onto the show and I'm talking to them, I've known some people for 3-4, I've known you for 10, 15 years basically, but you realize how little you truly know about some people sometimes. We kind of know each other, like it's like a surface thing, and then you start talking and you're like, man, like, so what this has told me about you is that you are a risk taker.
Oh God.
And you are not afraid of that risk, and you're definitely not afraid of failure.
Yeah. I'm more afraid of regret. That's the biggest thing I'm afraid of. And that's whenever I decided to go on the trip. That's when my mentality changed kind of into that, because I was always in college doing what I was supposed to, kind of following the path. And I knew if I didn't do it, I would have regretted it, and I couldn't have lived with that.
Yeah.
I'd rather have gone on the road, been broken down, got robbed, and had the worst time ever. But I would have been like, I tried it. And that would have been better than anything than not doing it. And I do that with everything now, is what it seems.
It seems as though when you kind of set your mind to an idea, even if the first idea doesn't work out, there's really, you have to learn to embrace that discomfort that you have. And just like, that's what I'm saying, is like, you embraced busking at first and doing that, and like you were like, it was kind of weird and uncomfortable at first, but then the more you did it, you just naturally found yourself in a place that really supported it. You found yourself in San Francisco, which was good, and then you find yourself in Las Vegas, and so then now you're back here, and you're opening another restaurant. And so what is the name of that restaurant?
This is called the Ginger Root Asian Kitchen and Bar.
And so what was it about, making Asian food,
Yeah, and that was when I was coming up with the first concept. It was, I knew I would be there like a lot. So I was like, what kind of food do I want to eat every day, all day? And I just did not want to do burgers, and I did not want to do steaks and kind of higher class like that. And I didn't want to do Mexican food and tacos. However much I love it, that wasn't what I have my passion in. And the style that I love is Asian styles because there's so many, you know, and it's already kind of an Americanized style with a lot of the stuff that I do. Like General Tso's doesn't even exist in Asia, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's all like those Asian ingredients. So I really like that that kind of feel to it. And I grew up eating Asian food once or twice a week.
Okay.
So it was one of my most frequent styles that I had growing up. So it's one of like a comfort food too, and it reminds me of a whole bunch of things. And I always got the sweet and sour chicken with like just the dipping, the red.
Oh yeah,
that was what I always got.
Stuff was delicious.
Yeah, so I mean, I lived on that.
Golden China, Bobo China in Grapevine.
Bobo China.
Yeah.
Shout out to Bobo China.
Yeah, I mean that name when my parents like we're going to Bobo China, it always made me laugh. Just Bobo, like
Yeah.
I was like, it's got to mean something, but
yeah,
I don't know
we
what.
got the poo-poo platter at Bobo China. Yeah.
So what's one of your favorite things to cook for people? As far like one of the favorite dishes, something that you really like making?
Man, the new thing I make that ginger pulled pork ginger tacos, like ginger pulled pork tacos. That's good. It's like a beer braised with like soy sauce, cooking wine, fresh ginger and garlic, and then we pull the pork and there's like a homemade slaw I put on top of it with like a little street taco thing, and this dumpling sauce that's kind of drizzled over it. That's like a sweet kind of salty dumplings, like soy sauce.
And do you make your sauces from scratch?
Yeah,
as
everything. Well? Yeah, there's one sauce that I get in the bottle, but because I love it, it's that sweet chili sauce.
Okay,
and
yeah.
I don't care. That's the only one. I'll admit it.
Yeah,
that's the one that I use.
Yeah, that stuff.
What's up, Barbie?
Is good. Hey, Barbie. Hi, dudes.
But
What's
no,
up?
other than that, I mean, the General Tso's, we make it. Everything's in the house. Sweet and
Yeah.
sour chicken. It's all from regular ingredients and nothing that's pre-made and processed and that kind of thing.
What's one of your favorite things to eat?
I mean, General Tso's is like
Yeah.
the best dish ever made. Yeah.
So what is General Tso's? Like, what is the dish?
It's kind of hard to describe. Basically, chicken stock is one of the main like bases to it. But then you got your your vinegar, your sugar. Some people put a little tomato paste in there sometimes. I don't really put that in there. But it's one of those things where it's going to be different in almost every single restaurant.
Okay.
But I like it to be a little sweet, spicy, really savory but not overly salty, and just I don't know, just like good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just
it was hard. I
good.
changed my recipe like 4 times because we did a soft open and it was really rough.
Yeah.
Because I'd never cooked in a kitchen before I opened the restaurant too. I had managed a couple places where I had to be on the line for like a couple minutes, an hour or two. But other than that, no, I never really did any kitchen cooking, so I had to learn fast. And I had to change a bunch of stuff. So luckily, I was in a place, an Angel Fire, we first opened it, that it didn't have as much pressure, in like a big city would.
Yeah.
Because a big city, if you get a bad name in the first, couple of weeks, it's hard to get back from. But I was in a tourist town, so it was new people coming every week. So I had that luxury of being able to experiment the whole time without losing a customer base at first, which was really nice. But I mean, people were loving it in the beginning. It was just little things that I had to keep tweaking. So I got it to, pretty much right where I need it to, though.
Nice.
So I'm really excited to get it back up and going again.
And so you're going to be doing cocktails as well.
Yeah. So the last one I just had a beer and wine license. I didn't have a full bar. So now I got a full bar, and we're building a new beer system, and
That's awesome, man.
So it's not just like 10 taps, not really anything crazy like UFO or anything, but it's I don't know. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
and so when do we think that it'll be open?
I mean, fingers crossed, like 90 days. I'm
Okay,
thinking.
very cool, man. 3 months from now,
Yeah.
that'll be
Like a long,
that'll be awesome.
long window.
Yeah, and so so now to kind of spin it back around to the music. Are you gonna? I know you said you're gonna be doing karaoke. All right, man. And are you thinking about maybe doing an open mic night or something like that?
I don't know about live music too much because it's not really like in a bar area.
Okay.
And that's why I like karaoke because, after like 3 hours of it, people are done and they just go home.
Yeah.
And there's not much pressure. And there's something different about people playing and the enjoyment level of the guest.
You mean you're not going to be the owner of the restaurant from Bar Rescue who plays shows at his own restaurant?
And I think that's really the main drive is like, I don't want to put the guitar down and then like go like make a cocktail and like serve tacos and then, go back up. Oh yeah, there's that lady, right? And she was there was a couple of
I just remember there was a dad in there and his sons like helped him run the restaurant and his DJ booth literally was just a nook in the wall, and he would go over there and mix, and he couldn't see anything behind him, and then he would like yell at his sons, and so it was basically just a way for that guy to feed his ego or whatever it was, and just be like, yeah, I own a bar and I DJ at it too, so. But I think that, like you said, it's not really in a bar area, but I think that you know, like karaoke is family friendly as well, you know, so little kids can get up there and sing stuff, and then parents can do it, and you'll have people who will want to come back for that experience.
Right, and we'll get that guy that comes every week and sings the same song.
Just as long as it's not Wagon Wheel.
Yeah, it's
you should have a sign up that says absolutely no Wagon Wheel.
Remember, no, you wouldn't, you never there, but there was this guy I worked at Back Porch Tavern in Grapevine.
Okay.
And this guy came, and he didn't even use the teleprompter anymore for the words, and he sang Uncle Krackers Follow Me.
No way.
And
every time?
He came and got a glass of water, and he would wear like tight cowboy pants, and he just like sang Uncle Krackers Follow Me. And then he would leave. He would like walk in front of the screen, and he would like crowd play and everything. But it was weird. It was the weirdest thing.
He just showed up, killed it, and was or not even really.
It wasn't good either. But it was he was like, that's my song, you know.
Man, there was a guy when I was young. My oldest brother used to play at the Grand Ole Opry in Grapevine, like I don't know, like '97 or something like that. And we would go there, and there's a guy every single week. He would play George Strait's like check yes or no. Yeah. And he would play that every week, and he would always start out with his back to the crowd, and he would just be swaying back and forth like this, and then he would spin around just like that, you know, and start singing.
Yeah.
And my mom every time was like, "Not this guy again."
That's awesome.
Not this guy again. It was the same song. He's probably.
But after
still
like the
doing
10th time, you have to start getting excited for it.
Yeah.
You know, like, is it going to be the same? Is he going to change?
Is he going to throw a rap verse in there out of nowhere?
The tension is there, you know. In Santa Fe, I went out to because I'd have to go to Santa Fe all the time for groceries, and I would go to this karaoke night out there, and there was this one guy who was fully Michael Jacksoned up. Fully, not in shape whatsoever, not a dancer's body, you know. But he didn't care, and he couldn't. I mean, I don't think he even knew the words to the songs. He just made the songs. Yeah, and he would do like and he did the dance the whole time. And Pete the Kitchen was coming out and watching this dude, just like, what is he doing?
He was a character.
Yeah, but when he came in, the people were like, oh, look, he's here, and it's just like, oh, that guy.
That's awesome,
that
man.
Guy.
That's pretty sweet, dude.
But I hope to get at least a couple of that guys. You know?
Yeah, I mean, you need that guy.
Yeah,
everybody. Yeah,
every place needs
because then
guy.
You'll have your other regulars who are good at it too.
Right.
Though,
oh yeah.
Like I saw a guy a couple weeks ago over at Andy's on their karaoke night. And he was an older guy, and he didn't even go on the stage. He just stood right there in the crowd, and I forget he sang like some old soul.
Yeah.
And it was perfect. It was on point, man. Like this guy clearly had a good voice.
Yeah.
And then there was. And then karaoke just cracks me up sometimes, man. Like, because these voices will come out of nowhere. You have no idea. And these girls and there's guys that get up there and they just, bam, they bust out this voice where you're like, whoa, where did this come from?
My favorite ones, though, are the one that they look really good. Like, they present themselves as, like they walk in all tall and proud. And they're just like, and you're like, oh, that is a surprise.
Yeah.
I'll give it to them for their confidence. But I love the bad singers and everything too. They're all having fun.
Yeah.
And that's the whole part of it that I love it so much.
It's
just so much fun.
Mm-hmm. And I think
especially near the end of the night.
There is something to be said about the serious karaoke goer, like the person who takes themselves seriously and then either does it bad or well. Because most people, they just go, they have some drinks.
I'm
and
like
then
a moderately serious karaokeer. Like I try to nail them. You know, and like I'll do fun songs like some Tenacious D. I won't say the name of it because I can't.
Yeah.
I'll do that one if the karaoke person will let me do it. But even that one's got some notes in it, you know.
Yeah,
you got to hold out some.
Sing,
dude, Jack Black can sing, so I'll do that one every once in a while. But for the most part, no, I'll do ones that I know and I want to kill it. You know.
Yeah.
I take it kind of too seriously.
Well, I mean, it is good though because I mean, for you do play music, you sing, and so it's like. I already take the other thing seriously, so I'm going to take this seriously too.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. So it's, I would say that, you also, and I want to touch on this. We don't have a lot of time left.
Oh, wow, that went by.
Yeah, it goes by quick. But you were on The Voice.
Mm-hmm. Kind of.
Yeah. What was it kind of? Like, what was that experience?
Man,
how did that happen?
It was like living like a rock star for like a month without being on TV. It was crazy. Because I went out to New Orleans first. Which I love New Orleans. That's in my top 5. I've said 3, I think.
Yeah.
Places: Montana, San Francisco, and New Orleans.
Okay.
And then Denton is up there too.
Yeah.
I love this place. Yeah. Right.
That was a good plug.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no. So I forgot what I was saying. Where was I at?
We were talking about The Voice.
Yeah. So I went out to New Orleans and I did the wait in line thing, and it was cool. We had to wait, and they were so fast. I mean, there was like, I don't know, 10,000 people there. And I was done in like an hour.
Oh, wow.
It was crazy because they would break off into groups of 10, and then you go in the room and you'd sit, and they would, all right, you go, what's your name, where are you from, what song are you going to sing it. And there was no music, and it was just like little conference rooms. So you're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know? And so I was in with 10 people, and of the 10 people, I mean, they weren't all pretty good. There's one kid that he said the name of the song, and it was a Jack Johnson song, and I was like, oh, I know this song. And he sang it, and I recognized the words, but I was like, that's not that song. That's not any song. Like, that's not any song at all. And
that's not a song
he waited in line
whatsoever.
to do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, he whatever, more power to him. But it was some people were, I was waiting in line with him, so we got to talk, and I'm from here, and my boyfriend told me to do it, and so everyone had like really good like stories, and it was all cool. But then after we all went, it was kind of quiet, and like it was like quiet for like a minute, and it was like, this is kind of weird. And then she said my name. And I stood up, and she goes, no, sit down, because I was like, what? And she sat me down. She's like, all right, you stay. The rest of you guys, thanks for coming in, and good luck.
Nice.
With everything. So then I sat there, and she asked me more questions. She made me sing another song for her. And then she was like, okay, well, here's a little red card. And then I went, and I signed up for the next callback. So I had to come back again 3 days later. And I came down the escalator with it, and I was by myself because I was just traveling. And I had the thing, and there's crowds of people waiting down the escalator. And as you come down, you have to show if you have a red card or not, and the crowd will go crazy. And I put it up, and this crowd went nuts for it. And I was like, I don't know who any of you are. I'm here by myself. I didn't even think I was going to make it.
That's awesome, man.
So that was pretty cool. And then I went to a callback, and it went well. And then they flew me out to L.A. for an executive, and then I did the blind audition, did like the Carson Daly interviews, and they filmed me walking down the hallway, did all this stuff,
That is awesome.
that you would see if I would have made it. But
That's
I got
cool,
a little shout out from Adam Levine on national TV.
Nice. That's really cool.
Other than that, it wasn't much of.
Well, dude, that's pretty awesome. I mean, you've done a lot, man. That's what I'm saying. I mean, from the traveling to play, and you're still going with the restaurants and all that. So you are opening a restaurant. So we do have to finish the show with the biggest question of all. What is your favorite snack?
Oh my gosh! Right now, I eat so many peanut M&Ms.
All right.
Like, it's ridiculous.
All right.
If they're not in the house, I kind of lose it. Because I eat spicy food, so I need something sweet. And
that's awesome.
But it's got the salty nut in there.
Yeah, it's perfect.
It's perfect.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and then cheese crackers.
That's awesome, dude.
I'm not too sweet.
Well, man, thank you so much for coming on the show, dude. It's
Mikey.
been awesome having
me.
you. Yeah, good times. Once again, y'all, Brian Burns. You can check him out all over the place. Go check out the restaurant one more time. What's the restaurant?
It's called the Ginger Root Asian Kitchen. The menu's up. Go to gingerrootasiankitchen.com. Or the Facebook. I just started a Twitter feed. I started Instagram, so there'll be pictures of food and the bar menu coming out. So
very cool. So from music to food, man, all over the place. I'm excited to see what comes. Once again, y'all, thank you for tuning in tonight to Sound Values every Monday night from 7 to 8 p.m. You can check this out. Next week, I've got DJ Party McFly coming on, so I'm excited to finally talk to that guy. Denton, you guys stay tuned. We got another show coming up next. Stay tuned and chill out right here on DentonRadio.com. We'll see you next time.
Well, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to check out DentonRadio.com to find new Denton artists and where they're playing next. While you're surfing the internet, make sure to check out our friends LSA Burger at lsaburger.com.